Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network and another episode of the NFL Betting Card, of course, with Spread Astaire and Tyler Hicks. I'm Meg. You can find me on Twitter at Megs08DFS. I'm a little under the weather today, but I'm powering through. We don't stop. We keep going. We're going to find the winners for week 7. And so let me go to my guys first, and then we'll go through our betting card. If you haven't watched this show before, first of all, thanks for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the FanSpeak Network. But we're going to hit our favorite bets of the NFL betting card to include spreads, totals, props, anytime touchdowns, some good old Thursday night football bets. But Spread, I'll go to you first. You got the fresh cut, looking good, feeling good. Well, you're kind of on IR right now, but how are you doing today? And are you ready for some week 7 action?
Yeah, I'm ready for some week 7, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts for tonight. I recorded a showdown show with Simon, and there's so many different ways that this game could go tonight. Yeah. I can't wait to hear your thoughts about it. But moving on to Sunday, a lighter card like we did last week, but I feel like we've identified some winners, and we got to give credit to the market. A lot of these lines are really tight, and, I think you can make some good arguments both ways. So I can't wait to dive right into this and continue to get more winners. But enough about me, Meg, because the man on my upper right is the one that we need to be celebrating today, as he got a clean sweep of the board last week. And now guess what? It's a what have you done for me lately life, Tyler. And we need it again. So we expect again, hey, that was great last week, but you got to go perfect again this week, Tyler. We're expecting it of you.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there before, Spread, especially with the NBA coming up. I mean, people they want it all the time. You can't lose. So last week, we sweep the board. We start with the ugly first touchdown with Kadarius Toney. Get the same game parlay home in that same game with the Chiefs -2.5 and under 49.5. I couldn't talk you into playing that Lions -3 spread, and they cashed pretty easily. And our guy,
you did talk me into it. Don't you remember? I conceded at the end.
I couldn't remember if I got you into it or not. I know for the longest time I couldn't.
No, it was on the treasure map.
And then our guy Amon-Ra St. Brown pounded in a touchdown for us. So we swept the board right there. It was a nice week, and we're going to do it again this week. So glad to dive in. It's another ugly slate, though, when you look at it. I will say that. Like the whole Sunday card last week, like the games, there was like maybe 1 or 2 good games, but a lot of them were just bad matchups and boring games. You look at this week, and it's looking like a lot of that again. So hopefully some of these underwhelming matchups overperform and we get some good games.
Can you guys hear me at all? My internet keeps cutting in and out, and it's driving me crazy. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. You guys kept freezing up on me, and my internet looks like it's gonna my phone hasn't been working, my internet's not working, my contacts are messed up. I am on the struggle bus over here. But yes, I need to congratulate Tyler for the absolute sweep of the board. I was obviously tailing his picks, and that was just absolutely awesome. So yeah, I love it, and I like that we're gonna run it back for week 7. So I didn't hear everything you guys said because of my delightful internet, but yeah, I was so impressed with the sweeping of the board, and we're going to follow up week 6 with another good week 7. So any other thoughts that you guys have before we jump into our week 7 action?
I'm trying to think if there was a couple questions I had for you. Those will come up during the course of the show. I know I did have a couple because I thought that we got some strong takeaways from last week. I think that one thing, when you go lighter on the card, right, and you don't have you're not getting a lot of edges. Now we're using these games to gather information. So as we talk through these games this week, I think some of the things that I noticed will come back up, and we'll address them as they come up, Meg.
Okay. Well, I was going to say the one thing I needed to take a victory lap on was my Washington Commanders getting the win. And then I had to thank you guys again. I forgot that you talked me off the Chargers money line. So thank you for that. Sometimes it's what you don't bet as much as what you do bet. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you.
There's a great one. What were your takeaways from the Commanders game? You guys were outgained. I thought the Falcons played a better game.
We just won the turnover battle. He had 3 interceptions.
That was the difference in the game. You get the W, and I guess you could say that's all that matters. But I'll be honest, as a commander, I wouldn't upgrade the Commanders off that win personally. What did you take away from it?
No, I mean, I will say I never felt concerned. I never felt like it was in doubt for me, like even at the end when they were doing their last drive. I don't know. I did feel confidence in the defense. How only threw it like 27 times, 24 times. I know still got sacked a lot. That is the big narrative, obviously, in Washington or about Washington. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like super impressive by any means, but I'll take any road win you can, in any way you can. And if the defense, is opportunistic, then I'm fine with that. This game I'm a little worried about against the Giants. It seems like the game that, just like the Bears, that all the games that Washington should win, they never feel like they do. So that's why I think I'm so happy that I felt like they should have beat the Falcons. They did. I'm happy. I'm just moving on, and hope they can beat the Giants. But these are the type of games that they just lay an egg. So we'll see. So yeah, not overly impressed, but still trying to stay hopeful that, things improve. They try to keep Howe upright, more of those kind of things.
Yeah, I thought that I didn't think the score really accurately was a reflection of that game. And I've been impressed with this Falcons defense.
Yeah.
They're one person away.
Yeah.
It just happens to be the most important person on the field.
The important the quarterback. Yeah, absolutely.
But you kind of have to like what they're doing down there.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting both tight ends involved. Bijan obviously is just an absolute weapon. So yeah, I'd love to see him, from a fantasy perspective, get more touches in like the green zone and those high value touches. But yeah, I mean, he's an absolute weapon. Drake London looks awesome. So yeah, like you said, they need that quarterback, to really take that next step.
And before the season, I would have said that you guys were closer than Atlanta, but after watching it, I know you guys got the win, but it feels like you just put the right quarterback in there, and we're in a year where that guy could be available here in this draft, even late. I'm noticing a lot of mocks, and I'll be interested to talk to Steve about this, especially as it gets closer.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys aren't going in the first round, and I think there's going to be some quality players available, even if you're not in the top 5 or top 10, which I think is great news for a lot of these teams that I think are pretty good. But then they might be able to add a quarterback without bottoming out, and being like Carolina, where you add Bryce Young, who I think is a pretty good player, but the rest of the team around him is so bad. I don't know if even, Michael Vick or Joe Montana or Tom Brady could elevate those teams. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see. But I'll tell you what, even though they lost, I upgraded Atlanta, and I didn't change Washington at all off that game. So
see, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it was good. I guess I was never, I don't know, I guess because the defense was making the turnovers, I was never nervous. So as a fan, I wasn't that upset about it, I guess. I mean, yes, I wish we could have, I don't know, obviously had a cleaner
move the ball better is what I would say.
Yeah, move the ball more efficiently and that kind of stuff. And obviously limiting the sacks, that's a huge storyline. But because sacks are drive killers, so that obviously needs to be dealt with and is very frustrating. So, but I guess like, again, just getting a road win and not even having really a sweat about it was just, I guess, a good thing for me. So, but I hear everything you're saying.
I got a question for both of you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
One trade for this Atlanta team, does it push them into the? Well, I mean, we all know whoever wins this division is going to be the only team out of the NFC South to probably make the playoffs.
Clearly.
Does this trade make them the division winner? Trade a middle round pick, like 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Go get Mac Jones.
No,
I don't think.
No,
we really don't. I think the guy kind of stinks. But he is in a bad spot. He looked good when he had weapons back in college. And if you drop them in Atlanta, he gets a good offensive line, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, a stud wide receiver. Like,
that's true. He is like hamstrung with no weapons right now. The
thing is, though, this isn't basketball where we just put someone in. He'd be going into a brand new system. He'd have to learn all the verbiage. And this is what I always say. Like when people are talking about trading for Kirk Cousins, I can trade for a wide receiver. He only needs to learn what he needs to do.
The quarterback
needs to know what all 11 players need to do on every single play. So just for in-season trades on quarterbacks, I just never think that they would work out that well.
Another question, though. Now, if you were to trade for him, how many of these other quarterbacks in this upcoming draft would you take instead of him? Because I'm probably taking
10. Mac Jones is a backup.
No, I'm taking maybe 3 or 4. Once you get to like the Bo Nix and these guys, like I'm probably just going to take Mac Jones.
Take Mac Jones over that.
Yeah,
that would be a question for my brother on
and I wonder what Steve thinks, but I think that Mac Jones has backup written all over him. And I also think that the attitude issues are going to prohibit him from having a backup career. Look at Carson Wentz. You can't tell me he's not better than most of these backups in the league from a physical perspective. But you have a bad attitude at that position, people aren't going to put up with it. In fact, in the NFL, unless you're outperforming your position, and bad attitude is not going to be put up with. This is in the NBA where we're going to, put up with an average player having a bad attitude.
He said he's in-season quarterback.
But I would want to do that off-season. I don't think that you get a boost.
Could you guys see Atlanta making that trade off-season then? Because I could.
Off-season, off-season I could see it. But again, it all comes down to like the attitude thing does concern me a little bit too. But off-season, I could see it if they feel like
they pick like middle of the pack in the draft. They don't like the quarterbacks that they're working out. They don't want to trade up and put too much into this. Why not just dump a middle round pick and take a swing on a guy who's already shown he might not be the best in this league, but he can somewhat play in this league?
I would rather take a swing at one of these guys.
Okay. Well,
we'll see. And like I said, I'm not a quarterback guru. I just keep reading that this is one of the best classes in years. And then I'm also reading mocks where other than May and Williams, a lot of these guys aren't getting taken top 10, which means that all these teams have the availability to upgrade, especially these mid-range teams that are one player away, like Atlanta.
This could be like one of those draft spread where we're told all year that this is the best quarterback draft. Right. And in the end, there was always only 2 guys.
That happens a lot. I mean, we've had these conversations about the quarterbacks and how many really good ones come out of each class. And I was digging through not too long ago. And I mean, really, let's see, what was it? The 2018 draft and the 2020 draft, obviously. But there's just only been a handful, honestly, in the last like 10 years where you're getting multiple or 3 or more, I'd say. So that's tough, but there's plenty of time to talk about it for sure. Let's definitely get into the week 7 now. And I got to hear who you guys, I know it's obviously up on the NFL betting card. It's up on the NFL treasure map. Check that all out for free on fanspeak.com, but I'll go to you first, Spread, to kick us off. What is your favorite spread of the week?
All right. I gave you guys a spoiler by choosing the background of the Kansas City Chiefs. My favorite number this week. I'm laying the 5 with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a fade of the Chargers. I can already hear the objections. Number one, the Chiefs are win games. They're not good against the spread. It's a great argument. Number 2, it's a division game, and division games should rarely be above 3. That's a great argument as well, right? And of all the weeks, this isn't my favorite one as far as choosing a spread. But here's the way that I'm looking at it. Number 1, this Chiefs defense is greatly improved. This is not the Chiefs team that we're used to from 2 years ago that's going to outscore you. They can get stops. They can get field position. And I really think that this is the time of the year where we're going to see Mahomes, what's the word, where you get this chemistry with the receivers. Okay. I think it's really starting to build. The player that I'm really excited about is Rashee Rice. I think that he ends up emerging as that clear number 2 target behind Travis Kelce. And I also expect a big week from Pacheco and the rest of the running back crew there in Kansas City. The Chargers have had problems stopping the run. That was one of the keys to our handicap when we took Dallas last week. And I'll admit that I thought the Chargers did pretty good against that Cowboys rushing attack.
Yeah, they bottled up Pollard. He just got that long reception. Yeah.
There's 2 differences here. Number 1, they were at home, and that will play a little different outside in Kansas City. And number 2, I think it's easier to stack the box against Dak Prescott rather than Patrick Mahomes. Prescott has shown so far this year, although I thought that it wasn't him in that Monday night game. It was some of the drop passes. But prior to that game, I didn't think he had been delivering the ball in those big play situations very well, which is why I felt that San Diego or Los Angeles went to a more run stopping approach than they usually do. They're not going to be able to do this that week. And regardless of having the weaker weapons, I think Mahomes takes advantage if they try and stack the box. I think it'll be a big game on the ground. I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to put up points. Kansas City, they didn't look that good offensively. They still covered last week on a 10.5 point spread. I know we don't like to lay more than 3.5 in the division game, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm taking Kansas City -5.
Okay, I like it. Well, I know, Tyler, you guys work together on this. Are you in lockstep with spread on that one?
I like the Chiefs here. I think they win the game. My biggest worry, though, is it being a division game. Factoring in the Chargers' home field advantage means pretty much nothing to me because it was Dallas. Let's be real. They dominated that stadium. I think it was CeeDee Lamb caught a crossing route, and it sounded like the stadium's roof exploded off. So they were that was a Dallas stadium on Monday night.
But there's still certain things. The fact that you're outside, do you see what I'm saying? It's not just crowd noise that factors in the home field advantage.
Of like
and
all
surface, I think will help Kansas City here.
Oh, definitely. I think the surface helps Kansas City, but it's like these two teams. I swear, every time they play each other, it's as close as they can get to these division games. I swear, the Chargers tried to mirror what the Chiefs built, so they're kind of like a replica of them. I just think this game, like this, reminds me of the Steelers-Ravens games a bit spread. Not as much as this is going to be boring and slow scoring, but that this game's going to fall within like 3 to 4 points, and it's going to be like a defensive touchdown that decides it, or a miss.
I don't think so at all. First, compare the Chargers defense to the Steelers or the Ravens. No, they're not hard hitting like that. And yes, they've tried to clone them as far as acquiring weapons and being offensive based.
The defense is just a theme of the game being things are going to happen in this matchup that normally don't because it's a division game, and it's just going to be a tight game all the way through. That's just how I think this one breaks.
All right. I think this is one of our rare division blowouts. I think we're getting the Chargers here on a great spot. Short rest. The Chiefs have extra rest, right? I got a little by with my guy, Andy Reid, who loves to scheme up. The more time he gets, the better. And then I would say the Chargers actually probably did a better job copying the Chiefs on the skill positions. The one thing that they're lacking is that creativity and the play calling ability that Reid gives to Mahomes. So I also trust Mahomes in the clutch a little more here as well. So, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I could regret laying this 5. But looking at the board, I think it's really our best available play. And we could talk about some of these other games and why I like the Chiefs more because just like we heard just good arguments on both sides, you're going to hear that up and down the card this week as these bookmakers have done an excellent job with the lines. And you'll see most of them are between 0 and 3, which means that we have 2 evenly matched teams. I talked about this last week after the top 5. All these teams are interchangeable. But here's my thing. I'm betting the top 5 team this week.
Okay. I like that. So
looking at their last 7 matchups, only 2 of these have gotten a winning margin over 6 points. Either side. Like you got last matchup, Chiefs won 30-27. That was home. That was away. That was in LA. Then the home game, they won 27-24. Then they beat the Chargers 34-28. Then you have a 30-24 win for the Chargers. Then you have a 38-21 win for the Chargers. Then a 23-20 win for the Chiefs. And that's it. For those games. I
mean, these are good arguments. This is a tough bet to make.
All right. Well, like you said, the card is tough this week because, like you said, there's a lot of evenly matched. You both made great points. So, Tyler, what is your favorite spread for this week?
I got 2. I'm stuck in between, Meg.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I want to go back to if it's not broke, why try and fix it? And why not just go back to Detroit? And now we're getting a +3 against the Baltimore team coming back from London when we just watched Buffalo go very slow on Sunday night when they're on their way back from London. Detroit's not going to be the Giants offense either. They're going to put up points. I don't think Baltimore's going to be able to run on this defense either. So they're going to have to throw. I think Detroit can win this game outright. I honestly think that you could bet an alt spread here and just flip this line and take Detroit -3 and get a nice plus number on it.
Well, I like to hear that because I do one money line plus odds banger on the week and like to bet one dog on the sheet, and I put my Lions. I mean, they're my Lions. I'm standing by them. Though I know Spread brought up a really good stat about Lamar. home.
15-1 in his career versus NFC opponents, 7-0 at home.
At home,
his 938 win percentage is best by any QB against the opposing conference per the 1970 merger, and that's from ESPN stats. One other thing I'd like to bring up, which is why Tyler talked me into the Lions this week, is the Lions don't blitz and they play a lot of zone, which is the two things that Lamar is good at. You know what Lamar doesn't like? He doesn't like blitzes because he can dance around 3 or 4 rushers. When you get 7 or 8, there's just simply not enough room. He also, the zone is great because when they do it right, that gives them the rushing advantage. I think the zone is easier for the Ravens to unlock the dual threat possibility there. A lot of reasons here that I like the Ravens, and I want to be opposite of Tyler, but I couldn't place the bet because I don't like this travel. And I know that it's been 2-1 so far now, right? As the Falcons covered the spread when they came back. The Jaguars covered the spread. The Bills failed to cover the spread and did look lethargic against New England.
New York Giants on Sunday night.
I knew it was a bad team up Northeast, right? So even though Atlanta and Jacksonville did it, I'm still a little bit worried about that. It is a lot. So not enough for me to jump in the Ravens, but Tyler and I definitely lean opposite sides. If we're doing a pool where we pick every game, I would lay the 3 here with the Ravens. And I know Tyler loves that +3 with the Lions. And hey, maybe it comes down to 2 points and Lamar's Jackson streak against NFC stays intact, but Tyler covers the spread.
Do we think there could be any like little reverse jet lag here? Because remember, all leading up to this game, all John Harbaugh said was he wanted to get there early because of what happened when they first played in London. They showed up late. They got smashed. He said he didn't want to ever come back to London. They showed up there like Monday morning last week.
Yeah, and they brought their whole offices over there and like recreated Ravens headquarters.
Yeah, they flipped all their guys to this schedule for almost a whole week. And now you're going to fly them back and tell them to flip back. I think they might have.
That's a good point.
It's like, all right.
I think that's a great argument. That's actually the main argument keeping me off this bet, Tyler.
Next week.
Yeah, that's the main reason keeping me off this bet is I'm afraid that a lot of the stats and the information that we've gathered that led my numbers to like the Ravens isn't going to be valid because of just the jet lag issues.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, if I speak to my Lions that I love so much from a obviously fantasy basketball sense, but I do like watching him. I mean, I think Ben Johnson is just a very, very creative play caller that has gained the most out of Goff and his players. Now you have Jameson Williams back. Yes, it's going to be limited, just like it was limited. I think he only ran like 9 routes last week, but obviously that touchdown was beautiful. I think the Goff can't play away, gets a little overblown. He's proved that a couple of times. Yes, I know it was without Chris Jones, but they beat the Chiefs on the road. They won last week on the road, looked great. Offense, I believe he was QB1 on the week. So I guess that doesn't scare me. And if Lamar can put up points, I'm not scared that Goff and company can punch back. I actually think with David Montgomery out, they'll be more pass heavy this week. Is what I'm hoping, at least from a DFS. That's going to be my big stand. And they'll just utilize all those weapons, including Jahmyr Gibbs if he's active. So that's where I stand too. So I'm on the Lions money line. So I come on Tyler's side on this one. But it's interesting that you guys are definitely staunchly on 2 different sides there. But Tyler, you said you had another one.
I have one more question though for both of you guys. How much do we take away from this game? Let's just say the Lions win. I think it's a fine possibility. That's why I look at my betting. I don't have any money on the Ravens right now. I'm just making the argument and telling you what kept me off the Lions.
Right.
Let's say they win, but they have the slow first half that we see from these jet lag teams. How much would you not put as much stock into that win? Conversely, because of these reasons we just said, or do we just continue to upgrade this Lions team? Who's, to me, now making a good argument to be up there with the Eagles and the Niners as legitimate contenders and kind of pushing the Cowboys out of the way and saying, no, we're the 3rd best team in this conference and we got a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
I'm leaning towards that they are already 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that the Ravens are a little overpriced. I think people think that they are better than they actually are. Like,
interesting. Okay.
What would have, like, when you look back, like, what have they really done? They played the Steelers with Kenny Pickett, stinks.
Mm-hmm.
They beat up on Dorian DTR.
Mm-hmm.
They beat up on another backup quarterback, I believe. They beat Tennessee in London. Like, they haven't done anything impressive.
Well, and just to counter that, I would say they've won without being able to establish the run, which is fantastic because that's traditionally been their way to victory. They're installing a new offense, and we had questions before the season when we were doing our drafts. How is Lamar going to look under Monken's season? The question was Roman hindering him, or was he hiding his mistakes the same way Russell Wilson did, Pete Carroll did for Russell Wilson? I think through 6 weeks of the season, we can answer, no, this system's going to be good for him. Lamar can thrive in a pass-happy system, so they've answered those questions. And third, in spite of a bunch of defensive injuries, they've still managed to get wins, which is the reason why I think that we can. I think that they're still a Super Bowl contender in my mind in the AFC if they can get things healthy and continue to build momentum. And what they need to do is get healthy on the defensive end and reestablish and refine that run game that has completely disappeared since J.K. Dobbins got hurt.
Are they a better Super Bowl contender than their division opponent, the Bengals? Because I say no.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
But I think they're really, really close. If I were putting the odds, it'd be like Bengals plus 1,600, Ravens plus 1,700. Do you see my point?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't think they're that far apart. I personally like the Bengals better, but I'm Team Joe Burrow, and that's just it, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Bengals can bounce back coming out of their bye, because the first, obviously, understandably, with Burrow's injury, but even last week wasn't pretty or very efficient for the Bengals offense. So it'll be interesting to see what Bengals offense shows up out of the bye. Okay. So wait, was there another spread you had? You mentioned 2 spreads you liked, right, Tyler?
Yeah, another one I like. I think me and Spread are going to actually agree on this one. I think the line's only this because of the quarterback being quote unquote questionable, but I think he's going to play. Why is Tampa Bay minus 2.5 at home playing Atlanta when we all know Desmond Ridder can't play on the road? Like, he only wins home games. They're not going to be able to run the ball against his Tampa defense, who stuffs the run. So he's going to be forced to throw the ball. Probably leads to some interceptions. It's going to give Baker tons of chances to score points, and Mike Evans and these guys are going to get open against this Atlanta team. I think they beat them by at least a touchdown. Minus 2.5 seems too low. I'm going to play it thinking Baker's going to play. And the other thing, too, is even if we get to Saturday and they're like, Baker might not play.
I think he's trending that he is. I think he's trending.
I think Kyle Trask might be better than Desmond Ridder. So I'll take Kyle Trask with those weapons Tampa Bay has to beat Atlanta. So I'll be on Tampa here minus 2.5.
I like the Bucs spread.
Touchdown.
I like.
Yeah, we're completely in lockstep there. That was the one, Tyler, I told you that I was thinking that I was going to like before we ran the numbers, when I just kind of looked through the numbers on Monday night before pushing everything into the model on Tuesday morning. I was very happy when the model came out with the same idea there. I don't think Atlanta's offense is going to look as good this week. Not trying to downgrade your Commanders' defense there, Meg. But I just think being outdoors really hurts Atlanta a lot, and I think that's going to help the Buccaneers look more impressive than maybe the Commanders did last week.
Yeah, I agree. Steve in chat does agree with the Ravens face a weak QB schedule, so we'll be interested.
Hold that thought for when we talk about New Orleans a little bit.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point. But
they're up there.
Yeah, so if you like the spreads that they mentioned, there's another one on the betting card. Check out the treasure maps, check out the betting card, and then you'll have all our bets. It'll be updated shortly for Thursday night. It'll be updated Saturday for Sunday, of course, Monday for Monday night. We keep it updated for you, so be sure to check out the NFL betting card and the NFL treasure map.
Can I jump in and say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Tyler, I have a friend who's a really sharp NFL bettor watching the show right now. Just sent me a text, said, I agree with Tyler. Ravens are almost as overrated as Caleb Williams. So he's coming with the heat.
Oh, wow.
On
He's bringing the heat.
Yeah, getting double there.
I like dropping the comment. I like it.
Whoever that is, Spread, we're in lockstep on two things because I also think Drake May is better than Caleb Williams and he's a little overrated.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's closer than when people are just writing him in at number one. I read a nice article. I think it was on the Ringer last night, basically touting Drake May and saying, "Hey, it would not be surprised if he ends up being the best QB in this draft."
The best way to describe it, Spread, is literally last year's NBA draft. Mm-hmm. You look at Victor, it's like, can we pass this up for Scoot because we know Scoot's like an actual he's going to be very good too. Yeah. But it's like, do we take that? And even if he's that good, if Victor's a specimen and just dominates, it's like we look stupid for leaving him on the board. So you have to take Caleb at one because if you don't, and he is Patrick Mahomes 2.0, you look stupid even if you took May and he's a 12-year starter.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah. We will. You have to have some shows with you guys and Steve breaking down all these like quarterback prospects and of course first round prospects and that kind of stuff because there is a lot to talk about because there already are teams like the Bears, like the Falcons that might just need one piece that we're already thinking, ahead for these teams and what they could be looking for in the 2024 NFL draft. So, okay, that was the spreads. Now let's go to the totals. Spread. What is your favorite total of the week?
All right, I'm going under on two offenses that I'm not high on. My concern here is I'm going against a very bad defense too. I'm taking the under in the Green Bay Packers versus the Denver Broncos. My numbers came out to about 40, 41 right here, right in that range. It's sitting at 45 now, and I'm completely fine taking this game. I love the edge here, and my idea is I don't think that one team's going to go over. So the only way I don't win is a close game in my mind with both teams putting up points. I'm willing to bet that at least one of these offenses is going to get shut down. Yeah. I know that we were so high on Green Bay right during the offseason, Meg, and that was like
because they were like a value best ball stack.
Yeah, right. Because Jordan Love, right, didn't go to like after pick 100. So
you could get that was like a value stack for sure.
Some of my concerns, I think, have come to roost here with Jordan Love. Not saying that he won't end up being a capable player, but I think he's kind of shown. I mean, he's not going to carry the team. No. He's going to have to win.
He's not an elevator
within the system.
A talent elevator.
And with some of the injuries this team has suffered, this offense just really isn't clicking. And I think losing, especially a guy like Love, losing Bakhtiari and some other linemen, some inconsistency there on the line has hurt his development a lot. Also, with Watson missing so many games, they're still struggling to kind of build that chemistry you want between him and the number one. I know he does have some nice chemistry there with Reed and who's our other guy, Dobbs there.
Right.
Musgrave is another one trying to build, not writing them off yet, but they haven't necessarily like found that elite connection yet. And then on the other side, I mean, I could talk bad about Denver, but just read any article or any tweet about them, and we all know that the problems they're
pretty well covered. Yeah.
And I also think the Packers have a good defense, right?
Yeah.
And I also like the way they match up here because what's the Packers' usual weakness is them been their inability to stop the run. I don't think that Denver will be able to get enough chunks on the ground to make up for their inability to move the ball through the air. And this is where like quarterback stats and I think fantasy football sometimes makes betting easier. I mean, Russell Wilson has better stats than Patrick Mahomes, right? But turn on the game. I mean, like the guys, talk about empty stats, right? And it just shows when you're down by 20 or 24, you can put up some pretty good quarterback stats playing against a loose cover too.
He couldn't last week. He couldn't crack 100 yards last week. Against the Chiefs.
I like the under here in this game. Two quarterbacks I'm not high on, and I got at least one good defense here. I'll still say that I believe the Packers have a pretty good defense, and we'll see. If it's a close game or Jordan Love completely goes off, I lose. But I'm fine thinking it's going to be a low scoring, kind of a slow game there. I got under 45 with the Packers and the Broncos.
I like that. I like that a lot. So, Tyler, what is your favorite total of the week?
I have two. Well, I don't have two. I have one, but it's solely weather dependent. If the wind's too crazy here and it's raining bad, You can't play this in Foxborough. But a 40.5 on a Buffalo New England matchup, if you turn on that game Sunday morning and it looks like it's not going to be crazy windy, it's not raining, it's not just going to be a mud bath, their last 4 matchups since that win bowl have they put up a ton of points. You've had 35-23, you've had 24-10, which is the one that went under. You've had a 47-17. In the end, on a 40.5 total with Buffalo in the game, how much are we really going to need from New England here? I say at the most, we might need 10 to 14. I think you get 30 plus out of Buffalo, but this is solely weather dependent because if the weather's ugly, you're going to get a low scoring game. So if the weather's ugly, we pivot. We go out to the West Coast. We're going to go to the Rams game. I know the Steelers offense has been absolutely putrid this year, but they're coming out of a bye. They're playing a very bad defense. They should be able to get at least 17 points on the board here. You look at the Rams. Kyron Williams is probably out. They're probably going to have to throw the ball a ton. If Stafford gets any time whatsoever, Cooper Kupp and Puka are going to be wide open against the Steelers secondary. They are also going to put up points. That total is 43.5. I think that one also goes over too. And that one, you don't have to worry about weather.
Yeah, exactly. Indoors, don't worry about weather in that one. And I'll just tease that you're leading into one of my favorite props with that one, because I definitely think that the Rams are going to use the pass game instead of trying to pick which running back in DFS. I just say play Stafford. And I know this is a betting show, but I think just play Stafford and Kupp, or Stafford and Puka if you want, or both. That's expensive, but I think they're going to pass to run. And I don't think that they're going to run the ball much. So I like that game and the over too. So I definitely
Stafford 6th in the league so far this season by QBR.
Exactly.
Kind of back to his Super Bowl level form.
He just hasn't hit the touchdown regression from a fantasy standpoint, like for best ball or DFS and everything. He's just the touchdown regression's coming. Not like 303 game, 304. I mean, it's coming, and especially now with Kyron Williams out, he's been kind of the one vulturing the touchdowns from him. That big line, gaudy fantasy line's coming from him. So at least that's what I'm betting on from a DFS side. And if you play, I'll use this as a quick segue. If you haven't, I was just talking to Spread about it. Check out the Underdog Fantasy. If you played Underdog this summer, the best ball streets, then you may know about Underdog's Battle Royale. It's a week-long, basically snake draft style. It's super quick, super fun. Steve and I just did a show about it. Check that out on the Fanspeak Network. Steve did an article with his rankings. Check that out on fanspeak.com. We'll be doing that every single week because Underdog is fun for best ball in the summer. But guess what? They have a ton of fun games in season for every sport, actually. But I love the Battle Royale for NFL. And I have already drafted multiple Stafford stacks and Kupp stack, or excuse me, Stafford stacks and Goff stacks, because I think both are going to pass more to kind of make up for not having as much good of a run game. Again,
speaking of the Goff play, Tyler, a little bit of CLV there on our other play that we have on the treasure map. We took the over in the Lions-Ravens game. We argued about the side. We linked hands like that one meme on the total, and we went over, and I talked about how I thought that Lamar Jackson would have success against a strong Lions defense just because of the scheme and the way that they don't blitz and they play that zone, which is what he traditionally does well against. And I don't see any reason to think why this balanced Lions attack won't be able to put up points here against the Baltimore Ravens, even if David Montgomery's still out, even if he's out. I still love this play here because they're going to put up points through the air. Now I know Goff's away stats are pretty bad here, but it also depends on how you sort. If you take his career, they're really bad, but he's kind of gotten better outside and on the road recently under the coaching of Dan Campbell, and maybe just having that time and that experience there in the pocket. So we like the over there. We played it at 41.5. It's up to 43. Tyler, I could see this closing at 44. A little bonus pick. We like the over there.
You definitely got some closing line value there, and very nice.
I think it closed at 44, and then 44 is another key. So it takes a lot to go from 44 to 44.5.
Okay.
So I think we see 43, 43.5, 44, maybe back down, maybe a little bit of buyback. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that would play that 41 because I think there was a 41 if you would have hit it before we did the treasure map.
Okay.
I know between 41 and 44 would be something that the pros would do a lot and just take both sides. The idea that it lands in the middle way more often than when you juice out there. So,
yeah, and that's another segue that check out their treasure map on Tuesday. And then I update the betting card by Tuesday night, get that updated. So if you want to hit those lines early, which that one, obviously, like you said, you did get closing line value on. So again, all free on fanspeak.com. Check that out. Okay. That covers the spreads, the totals. I already dropped that I like the Lions money line. So that's my underdog of the week. Now let's head over to the prop side of things. And, still early in the week, not all the props are available, but I'll go to you, Tyler. What is your favorite prop of what is up and posted, or even if there's just a player you like that you want to keep an eye on? What's your favorite prop of the week?
I mean, looking at this, I definitely want to target some of these Tampa Bay receivers. I mean, I could see Mike Evans having himself a day against Atlanta. I could see Godwin also doing that.
Like that.
Another guy, I'll save it for the Thursday night game. When we talk about that, there's a prop I like in that one. I think there's going to be a ton of throwing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would honestly target Gardner Minshew throw an interception against his Cleveland Browns defense. I mean, I know everyone's happy. They quote unquote say he's the best backup in the league. He's going in there doing his job. The dude's just not safe with the football. He's going to throw interceptions.
Especially against that defense.
Yeah, definitely see him throwing another one here, depending on what the odds are, like the over a half interception there too.
Okay, I like that a lot. Before we get to my favorite prop of the week, Tim in chat, thank you for joining us. He's asked, are there two favorite QB receiver stacks that stand above the rest? I mean, I certainly think you could go to the highest total on the slate and, target the Chiefs and Chargers if you want to do, a Herbert, Keenan Allen stack, or if you, of course, Mahomes and Kelsey, he's basically a receiver, is very expensive. You could do Mahomes, Rashid Rice. But yeah, I'm kind of taking an angle that I'm going to play. Two of my stacks are definitely going to be the two I mentioned with Goff and either Amon-Ra and Laporta, and then Stafford and Kupp, just because I think both teams can throw on their opponents, and both teams are going to need to throw almost like an extension of the running game too.
Meg, I don't know if this is clearly above the rest, but I'd also like to throw in a Geno DK under the one. So I know that total is 44.5, but it's also on a 7.5. So the implied team total is about the same there for the Seahawks. One of the reasons I do like it is, as much as I used to hate these narrative angles, but the sad fact of the matter is there's a lot to it. And with DK getting criticized this week about his comments and then walking them back, I think that they're going to make an effort to get him involved. And even without those comments, it's a great matchup here, attacking this Cardinals secondary that hasn't been the same since Budda Baker's been gone.
Well, Tim agrees with you. Yeah, bounce back for Geno. All right. Yeah. I like it. I think that's another good one for sure. Okay, now I'll go.
It was hard for us to leave the Seahawks up the card this week, Meg.
Oh, yeah, because the number was what, 7.5?
It's 7.5. We got it coming in around 9, which is so at that point, at a 1.5 point edge with that many points involved, I need something else to push me there. What actually pushed me off rather than push me there is we've talked about these divisional matchups, and a lot of times I play closer. So I figure I'm already flying close to the sun by laying the points in a divisional matchup. We don't need to go overboard.
I gotcha. I hear you.
They get some extra motivation in that game spread because they designated Kyler Murray to return. So this might be Dobbs' last game playing. They might do the whole, let's get up and play for the guy who stepped in for us for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's a narrative.
Motivation for those guys.
True. That's true. I do like a good narrative, so I'm in on that. Okay, my spread is related to, I talked about it when Tyler talked about the Rams and picking the Rams. I talked about it in DFS, how and an underdog battle royale that I've been drafting Stafford stacks. I like Stafford 265.5. Again, I really, really, really believe that they're going to throw as an extension of the run game. And I really believe that the touchdown regression is going to hit too. You could, if you wanted to look at his touchdown props too, you could look at that because I do believe that regression is going to hit in a positive way for Stafford, but I'm definitely targeting 265.5 for Matthew Stafford. That's actually clearly my favorite bet on the board so far this week, but we will have all of them up on fanspeak.com by Saturday. And so be sure to check out our full props list and anytime touchdowns, any other bets that we add to the sheet. Again, all these guys' bets are already up there, but anything else that we add for Sunday will all be up by Saturday. morning. So check that out. Okay, that covers props then. We know you join us for some anytime touchdown action spread. So I'll go to you first. Anytime touchdown, not Thursday yet. We'll get to Thursday separately. But if you wanted to do a Thursday one, that's fine. But what is your favorite anytime touchdown in the week 7 slate?
All right, Meg. Well, as you can see, my computer's frozen up. I hope you can still hear me.
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, this has been happening lately. I don't know what's going on here. I don't even have a lot of windows open up right now. So I can't go to bed online and pull up this number.
I was going to say, we can look the number up for you.
It's a player I just talked about. Give me DK Metcalf. I really like him there against the Cardinals. And I do believe that this is a chance where I know that I said I was hesitant to lay the 7.5. It might end up being the easiest bet on the board. The Seahawks could run away with things. I thought they actually won that game. I was really surprised they didn't cover last week. I thought they should have won. I thought they outplayed Cincinnati, and now they're going to go home against a weaker team coming off a loss. Great situation for Seattle. Give me DK Metcalf to score.
I like that a lot. I don't see a number for him posted yet on DK. Do you, Tyler? On DraftKings Sportsbook?
No, I don't see one on FanDuel or DK for them yet.
Okay, it's just not posted yet, but it'll be a nice plus odds banger. I like it. So I totally in lockstep with that one. So I'll go over to you next. I almost jumped the gun and tried to jump in there, but I'll go to you next, Tyler. What is your anytime touchdown favorite for this week?
I hope my computer isn't doing the same thing because now my FanDuel won't click on anything. Oh, there we go. But I'm going back to that Buffalo game.
Yeah,
I swear Diggs always cooks this team when they play.
He does. I looked it up because I debated Steve on the Underdog Show. So, yep, he definitely does because I was wrong.
Touchdown right here. He didn't score one last week, and then they had the weird game, and you're getting him an even money to get in the end zone here. I love that. And then you could even do the anytime touchdown money line parlay because I don't think they lose this game against New England. You could even take that plus 100 up to plus 140. I know it's 40 cents. Helps you out a little bit, though. So I think they both win.
I like that. I absolutely love that. So loving both your anytime touchdowns. Mine's a little bit riskier, but it's totally on brand. It's Detroit Lions. It's the guy that I drafted over 50% in best ball. I've talked about both Detroit and the Rams lacking a running game or missing their starting running back are going to pass as an extension of the running game. So why wouldn't Detroit pass as an extension of the running game? David Montgomery's been getting a lot of those high value carries inside the green zone, inside the 10. Maybe when they're inside the 10, they'll throw a little bit more because I don't think they like running Jahmyr Gibbs in between the tackles as much. He's more like an explosive, get him on the outside. So if they're getting in close, maybe they throw it. Maybe they throw it to Sam Laporta and you hit that for plus 250. So I've got Sam Laporta plus 250. Last time I had him on the sheet, he hit for us. That was a couple weeks ago. So I'm running that one back and, I stay on brand. So I like that.
And for those of you who have looked for Meg on Facebook, it actually says in a relationship with Sam Laporta
he just doesn't know it yet. He just doesn't know yet. He and his girlfriend don't know. Oh my God. Yeah, sorry to his girlfriend. I think he's dated someone or married, and I'm like, I'm obsessed.
Well, it's a purely fantasy relationship. So we're fine.
It is.
It's strictly whatever the word for platonic is when we go to fantasy. That's where we're at.
Oh, he's a good-looking dude too, but I am clearly obsessed with him. I said if there wasn't a Sam Laporta fan club yet, I would start one. I said it all summer long. So, his girlfriend, family, sister, they should all, I don't know if they should be scared about my obsession with him or impressed or whatever, but it is something. It is something, that is for sure. But hopefully he comes through for us this week at plus 250. So I like that. So, okay. So we covered spreads, we covered totals, we covered props, we covered anytime touchdowns. Again, check it all out for free on fanspeak.com, NFL betting card, their NFL treasure map. So now, guys, it's time to go to the Thursday night game, and it's not a fun one. We got Trevor Lawrence, who's a game time decision, but I believe likely to play. I don't see a lot of points scored in this game. So I am not thrilled about this Thursday night affair we've got the Jaguars at the Saints. But before we get into, we'd like to do our first touchdowns, which Tyler crushed last week, getting us Kadarius Toney at 17-1. That was amazing. So no pressure, Tyler. We're looking for you to run that back for us. But before we get into first touchdown, building the same game parlay, I'll go to you first, Tyler. How do you see this game even going tonight? Do you think it's going to be as ugly as I do?
I think so. I think it's going to be really ugly. I don't think the Jags are going to be able to move the ball really well with Lawrence banged up. I don't think they really try and move him out of the pocket much. You don't see him run very much. They're just going to try and run Etienne into the ground. They're going to try and throw these little dink and dunk passes to Kirk, Ridley, and Ingram. And they're just going to try and get into field goal range, kick some field goals, maybe get some touchdowns and rely on their defense. And their rush defense is very good. So I don't see Kamara having all that good of a game on the ground. Could he catch the dump offs and have a good game? Yes. But I think this is Derek Carr through the air all day. Big Olave spot. I think he dominates. I think all three of those receivers, one of those guys is going to have a day here. I think it's either Olave, the corpse of Michael Thomas, or Rashid Shaheed catching some bomb. So one of those guys is going to have a big day. He's going to throw about 300 yards, probably 2 touchdowns. I think they win the game in the end. So I'm going to go right back to what we did last week. JJ special. Give me a +3.5 on the Saints, and we don't think there's a lot of points in this game. Give me an under 46.5, and that gets you -110 on the same game parlay.
I like it. I like that you can hit the JJ special again. You swept the whole board card last week, so I love that. All right, Spread, how do you see this game going tonight?
So I'm really struggling with this game. My numbers and my priors love the Jaguars over the Saints. We talked about it earlier, and once again, my computer's slow, so I can't pull it back up. But Meg or Tyler, if you could do me a favor, just pull up the game log of the quarterbacks that the Saints have gone up against, right? It's going to be like Tannehill, Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder, maybe.
Trying to pull up.
Anyway, they have a top-ranked defense, but they haven't played any offenses of this caliber yet.
Oh, yeah. Now you want to read them really quick?
Yes, please do, because it will illustrate my point a little more.
Yes, the point will be well illustrated. Ryan Tannehill, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, and CJ Stroud, who has looked good. But yes, to your point, that is not a murderer's row of quarterbacks to face. I mean, not that, again, we're lacking a ton of good quarterbacks in the league, but still, that first 6 games is just, absolutely cake quarterbacks to face.
So if we didn't have this terrible situation spot for the Jaguars, I would be all over this team here. Here's my concern. We know they spent the 2 weeks in London. They came back, but they played a hard game against the Colts. And I know that they cruise, and we were on the Jaguars. I gave that out last week as our best bet, right? And you talked about not being nervous. Not really nervous during the game.
No, that was an easy cash.
A hard-hitting game, though. That game was played rough in the trenches. Now the Jaguars have some concerns on the offensive line as well as Trevor. So this is a really weird game. On the Saints side, both their tackles are out. Okay, cool. I want to bet the Jaguars. We're going to fade offensive line injuries. Not so fast because I'm missing a left tackle, and then Brandon Scherfs is also questionable going along with Trevor Lawrence, and I think that's just as important. And I know you're going to say a guard can't be as important as a quarterback, but it feels like it could be. I'm also concerned that Trevor's not 100%.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So even if he go, I also thought from a handicapping perspective, it would have been easier if Bethard was in there because I feel like we knew exactly what we're going to get. If Trevor goes out there, what if he's 95%, he's just hampered a little bit, and they call a couple less bootlegs? I love the Jaguars in this spot. But if he's not 100%, right, and he's 60%, he's limping around, or he gets knocked out of the game, I mean, this is really tough. So I lean the Jaguars, but I can't pull the trigger here. I think this is a terrible situational spot here for the Jags, but it's rough for me because I think they're such a better team. They play much better competition. And I'll tell you what, if I was a Saints fan, I'd be disappointed that I was only 3-3 off the schedule they played so far. Tyler and I were not high on the Saints to start the season. We ended up betting over on this team because we looked at the 17 games they play. Yeah. They don't play a tough
cake schedule. No, the NFC South has a cake schedule.
I also think when you're doing what I do and you're creating a number based off model statistics of what happened this season, because I don't think I'm accurately weighting strength of schedule, I think that maybe the Saints are going to be a little overvalued by my numbers. So I don't love this game at all. I think Tyler's got a great way to approach it. It could be pretty close here. But it's really tough because everything screams to me to take Jacksonville here, but I don't know if that's the wise spot. What do you think?
Doesn't this worry you though? Is like we talked about it with San Fran last week when it was like, oh, there's no way they're going to lose to PJ Walker. It's like, well, this is the East Coast letdown spot. This team's won.
Yeah, that's why.
This team's won 3
great
in a
point
row.
last week. San Francisco, they shouldn't have lost. They're a better team.
2 of them in London, fly home,
Yeah,
beat a division team. Now they go on the road on a short week.
Yeah.
Like if there was ever a spot for the Jags to lay an egg, I think it's right here.
Oh,
it
definitely. Yeah. Because
if there's any spot for Doug Peterson to take his foot off the gas while they're losing and say, you know what, we're beat up. This is a Schedule L. We're talking about Schedule L's in the NBA, right, Tyler?
Yeah, this is
Fifth of 7 nights, back to back, Schedule L.
Yeah. No, they then we'll get like a mini bye, and then they have their bye week 9. So yeah, I'm with you. I initially gut reaction was just, I think Jacksonville's the better team, and they'll find a way. And then once I dug further and then really thought through all these different, kind of external factors, and then just the injuries, obviously, or plain banged up, it's an absolute stay away in that department. But there are props I like, which again, you can check out on the NFL betting card. Tyler alluded to one. Love Chris Olave in this spot. Think he could absolutely erupt tonight against, you can throw all over the Jaguars. So I really like Olave, but we'll have more props up after the show and our full NFL betting card up within an hour after the show. So again, check that out on fanspeak.com. But guys, Tyler, no pressure. Have to go to you first because, you hit the 17-1 Kadarius Toney, so no pressure. But who's your first touchdown for tonight?
All right, Meg. We're going 13-1 this time.
13-1. I like it. I'll take it.
And we're taking that corpse of Michael Thomas. 13-1. They're going to get close to the end zone. They're going to try a couple run plays. It's not going to work. Bang, there's the slant route touchdown for the old guy. So
slant route, Michael Thomas.
13-1.
Okay. He's trying to run it back, folks. I like it. I'll go to you next, Spread. Who do you like for first touchdown tonight?
I'm going to go with a player who has been getting a lot of targets so far this season from Trevor Lawrence, but has yet to make it in the end zone, Evan Ingram.
Ooh, I like that.
I really like it. Lawrence likes him a lot. And I think against the Saints defense, that's a great matchup for them to attack. Now, Saints have been pretty good against tight ends, but I still think Ingram can exploit that matchup. So I'm going Evan Ingram at 14-1 to get his first touchdown of the season, even though he's averaging 7.5 targets per game.
I like that. And I'll just drop another that Underdog Fantasy does night primetime show drafts too. So they had like a Thursday, Sunday night, and obviously the Sunday night is like a massive game between the Dolphins and the Eagles. It was a super fun draft, and I was able to snag Ingram in a couple of them. So I'm definitely pulling for him on my Thursday, Sunday Underdog draft. Again, if you are new to Underdog, use code FANSPEAK. You get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So check that out because, again, it's not just best ball season, folks. They got these snake drafts, and we'll be covering it every week. Check it out on Fanspeak Network, fanspeak.com, and they are super fun and quick. Spread, have you drafted one yet?
No, I was very busy yesterday. But guess what? Now that I found out I'm out for 4 weeks.
Yeah, you're on IR for 4 weeks. So
no hiking.
Yeah.
No walks around the neighborhood. I'm stuck in this chair, Meg. I'm going to have some time. By the end of the 4 weeks, Meg, you might be ready to have me on as an expert.
Spread.
What's that?
Said you were complaining you weren't going to get to watch all your NBA games, and then I
know God just wants me to watch
basketball gods
look
down on you, and they zapped you with an injury.
Yeah, exactly. So you're injured. You can watch basketball. We'll be talking basketball next Tuesday. You can rip some more NBA basketball. If you didn't check out Spread and I taped a basketball show this week, check that out on Fanspeak Network because there's not a lot of NBA basketball content out, and these two know their NBA. Spread and I broke down some. We did a live NBA best ball draft, so check that out. But yeah, you can do that. But I'm telling you, these Underdog drafts, they go like this. They're so quick. You're used to best ball where it's like, okay, I got to devote 40 minutes. Nope, you devote like 5 minutes, and it's so fun.
Is that quick?
Oh my god! Well, yeah, because
how many players are you taking total? I haven't even watched the video that you guys put out yet.
Just 6. It's just 6 players. It's a quarterback, running back, 2 receivers, tight end, 1 flex. 6 rounds. It goes like that, and it's only 6-person draft too. It goes like so. It literally is.
And is it just winner take all? for 6 people?
No. It's because it's then you're competing with everybody who drafted. So that it's not like no pod. It's just then all in like whatever the total amount. If there's 35,000 entries, it's you and 35,000 for a prize. But the prize pool is very balanced. It's not like super top heavy like Millie Maker contests or anything like that. It's very, very balanced too. So it's a nice prize pool payout. Like even if
can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, it's super fun. So that was my long way of saying I like your first touchdown because I drafted Evan Ingram on some Thursday, Sunday on underdog. So rooting for Evan Ingram tonight in that regard. I'm going to go with who I teased on the prop. He'll be on the prop sheet. And I think he gets in the end zone tonight. We talked about it. You can throw all over Jacksonville. So give me Chris Olave. I have DraftKings Sportsbook pulled up right now. He's $9.50, but check out. I didn't have I was having some internet issues. Our tech over here. We're all crushing it today on the tech side. But checked. I think there might be a better price on FanDuel. So Chris Olave is my first touchdown for tonight. Okay, just as I said that, I think we might have lost Tyler.
No, he turned it off on himself.
Oh, okay. Okay. But then to end the show, we will do a Thursday night football. We talked about like how we see this Thursday night game going, which we think probably pretty ugly. We gave you our first touchdowns. You got Michael Thomas, Evan Ingram, Chris Olave, our first touchdowns. To end the show, we're going to do a Thursday night same game parlay, and hopefully we can build a winner here. So spread while we're waiting for Tyler. I know it's tough in this one, and I have DraftKings Sportsbook pulled up, so I can tell you what the lines are there. But what do you like tonight to build in our same game parlay?
That's right, Meg. I think I got a good one here. Fans of the Avengers, right? They love Captain America. Well, tonight they get to see another captain. That's right, Derek Carr, captain, check down. Give me a mark, Alvin Kamara, over 5 receptions tonight.
Oh, I like that.
I think with Jacksonville's ability to stop the run, well, let's go what Bill Walsh did. He figured this out 40 years ago. If I can't line up and run the ball, and we're waiting for Tyler. I can go on a little tangent.
Yeah,
here.
Go for it.
You know what actually spawned the West Coast offense? Bill Walsh realized my team sucks, right? And how do you run the ball? Like, why do the best high school teams win all the time? Because they have the better athletes up front. They have a better athlete running the ball. You simply out-execute. So he's like, I'm not going to be able to out-execute with this team. My line sucks. My quarterback's not very good, and I don't have the advantage in skill positions. I have to design a system that they're not ready for, which is why he said, I can't run the ball. For me to simulate the running the ball, I got to do these really short passes that are high percentages. It's going to be about the same as a handoff, but now I'm going to get the ball to my less talented skill players, but they're going to have room to work. So 40 years later, that concept still works. Captain check down in the house. Give me Kamara over 5 receptions.
I like that. Between the Captain America analysis, throwing it back to Bill Walsh. I mean, it just really came full circle, though. I love it. Okay, so Tyler, if you missed it, spread has got over 4.5 receptions for Alvin Kamara. I like that. I was debating which I wanted either his yards or receptions, and I was just about to put that on the sheet before the show ran out of time. So I'm going to be adding that to the sheet. Tyler, what is your leg for our show same game parlay?
Derek Carr over 235.5 passing yards. I think they do all their damage through the air. Jacksonville's run defense has been very good. And it's going to be Kamara dump-offs is how he gets his yards tonight. It's not going to be him running through the tackles.
Yep, exactly. Well, guys, this is going to be an all-over, an All Saints slip. So it's not wildly exciting because it's very highly correlated. One thing I've been doing, and Tyler, I know we've talked about this a lot, is you do those uncorrelated bets, and the odds just, freak out and jump. So this is very correlated. So the odds are pretty tame, but give me who I've been talking about, Chris Olave over 62.5 receiving yards. You could alt it if you want to get a little bump in your odds, but those three together on DraftKings Sportsbook is plus 345. And I will put that on the sheet, but I like that one. It does correlate and it makes a ton of sense. So what do you guys think? You happy with our first touchdowns in our show parlay? Because I got to get both those in right after the show. Okay.
I like Olave a lot here.
I'm locking them in right now.
Go down slate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think he's got a great matchup.
Check out the Showdown show you did with Simon. That's over on Heat Seeker Sports, right? Heat Seeker Sports, you broke down it from the Showdown perspective. Check that out as well. All right, guys, let's wrap up our week 7, which is final thoughts. Spread, I'll go to you first. Final thoughts. It could be tonight, week 7, whatever you think. Final thoughts for the people.
A lot of leans on the treasure maps, but leans are opportunity to get information. And I'm not the first person to say it, and I won't be the last. What's the advantage? There's one advantage the bettors have over the sportsbook. They have to put a line on every single game. We get to choose which ones are wrong. Be selective. A lot of these lines are really good, and a lot of these teams in that 5 to 20 range are very close. You could go 5-0 this week, but let's go review some of those games. Because I'll admit, I had a good week last week. There was some luck involved. It's going to be a lot of randomness involved. Really try to find your edges here. Give the bookmakers credit. Give the markets credit. These lines are tight for a reason. So let's get some information this week, and we're going to be ready to come back even harder when these buys end and we get that full slate again.
I love that. That's a very good reminder for me, and I'm sure everybody watching as well. And again, you see the NFL betting card, you'll see our picks, but check out their NFL treasure map, which is under the sports betting tab, all free on fanspeak.com. Okay, Tyler, again, swept the board last week. Looking to sweep the board week 7. How are you feeling, Tyler, for week 7? What are your final thoughts?
I'm feeling good. I mean, week 7, the games aren't that best, but we're going to find winners. I think we've identified a ton of spots. We're definitely going to sweep the board again, just like last week. We're going to hit this first touchdown tonight, get the anytime touchdown home, and be ready because next week NBA starts, and that's where a real money maker comes in. So we're going to make a ton of money in NBA. So tune in for that. It's going to be fun. All the sports are kicking in. It's getting to that fun point in the year.
I love it. That's right.
Before we go, I need your guys. First of all, it's not the worst card from a fan's perspective if you don't have any money. I think the Lions-Ravens is going to be incredibly instructive. Although I said, hey, if the Lions win, maybe we take it with a grain of salt. I still think it's going to be incredibly instructive. We didn't talk about it at all because we didn't have a play on it. But Dolphins-Eagles is a great Sunday night game.
The last
amazing Sunday.
The last 2 games are good of the week. They just you got to drag ass through all of Sunday to get there.
I think the Chiefs-Chargers is good, right?
Yeah, Chiefs Chargers.
I think it's going to be a great game from a fan's perspective.
They might give you like one decent game at every time slot, but everything else is just blah.
But I got to get your thoughts, guys. I could be a homer too, Meg.
Yeah.
The battle of the backups.
Oh, the battle of the backups. That's right. Oh, I love it. It's going to be
How
Aiden
do you
O'Connell.
feel about my Raiders taking on Aiden O'Connell? Most likely. It hasn't been confirmed.
I was going to say, has it been confirmed on Aiden O'Connell? That was my next question.
It has not. Garoppolo is confirmed out.
Okay.
And
that's what I thought.
From reading a ton of Raiders saying, it seems like McDaniels is saying, when I have a week to prepare,
then
I'm
O'Connell
going with Aiden O'Connell because I can install what I want.
Okay.
Hoyer is able to process things quicker. I want him off the bench. So I think it's going to be O'Connell, like 95% sure. So I got Aiden O'Connell on one side. I got a young man named Tyson Bagent, who I went and looked is like the most decorated Division II quarterback of all time. I mean, like the guy even won like homecoming king or whatever. I was looking at his accolades on Wikipedia. The guy's done pretty well for himself. This is a game that we should win as Raiders fans, which means that we won't. I mean, how do you see this battle of the backups going, Meg?
I see the battle of the backups with the Raiders coming out on top. You also have the Devontae Adams squeaky wheel narrative, and I do buy into narratives. And, we saw it with A.J. Brown earlier this season. My God, like sometimes when those receivers get in the ear, quarterbacks listen. And I think a young Aiden O'Connell would be wise to feed Devontae Adams more than they have been feeding him, which has been not enough these last couple of weeks. Very disappointing. So they're both defenses that we look to target, right? But I think, and that's what makes this whole battle of the backup interesting, but I definitely lean Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders and Devontae with the squeaky wheel. And I love Josh Jacobs in this spot too. So I
tried to talk Tyler into the over earlier this week. He was on his Nancy Reagan. All I heard was no. He just said no. But the title's only 37. Tyler, I'm gonna ask you one more time. We'll talk about it tomorrow too. But the total's only 37, and it's 2 of the bottom 10 defenses in the league. Why aren't we playing the over, Tyler?
Here's why spread. because we're not betting on this dog shit game. And every time you ask me about Raiders games and betting them, I'm just going to recommend this phone number, 1-800-662-4357. We're not betting on this dog shit team.
Oh my God. I love you gave out the 1-800 Gambling Anonymous I assume. That's hysterical. I love it. I mean, I guess the hesitation is their backup quarterback, so they could just.
When your team stinks, spread, you just accept that they stink. You don't see me advocating to bet the Steelers every week.
Bro, it's 37 total with two of the worst. At 37 should be like the Ravens Steelers, right? I mean,
it's indoors in Vegas too, right?
No, it's in
Chicago.
Oh, it's in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, and there could be weather issues there too, right?
Okay, well then that could be a bit challenging for backup.
37 though, and these are backups. I mean, I get a couple turnovers and I'm set.
Those turnovers could be pick sixes that also screw you.
How would that screw me? I want pick sixes if I have an over.
I thought you were the under. Okay.
No, I want over 37.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I avoid the shitter games like this. I'm not sitting here Sunday at 3 p.m. pounding my desk because Tyson Badgett and some dude named Aiden O'Connell can't score points. I'll beat my desk if Josh Allen can't score points.
Right.
I'm not betting on these guys. This ain't March and NBA spread. We don't got to bet on
I'm about to email you all his accomplishments, bro.
He played like the Colorado School of Mines.
Did you see that tweet?
Is this Badgett's resume?
Last December, he threw 2 interceptions against the Colorado School of Mines.
Oh my! I mean, O'Connell is a gunslinger, though. I mean, he really didn't get a chance to show it against the Chargers defense, like ate him up. But I mean, he's a bit of a gunslinger, right? Spread.
I thought so. First of all, I didn't watch him at all, and I thought he looked really good in preseason.
Yeah, I know he had a good preseason.
A lot of people look good. Kenny Pickett looked pretty good in preseason too, right?
Yes.
Can we just block preseason next year? It doesn't exist to me.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I want to block every highlight. I don't think we learned anything from it. I think it put us off the scent, Meg.
Oh,
some of that preseason stuff that we got.
I think preseason hurt me less this year than it did the year before. I let preseason get me way too much the year before. Yeah. And I was definitely better from the best ball side of turning it down and tuning it out a little bit. But yeah, no, it's still.
Oh, Tank Bigsby. Oh, we better throw him up our draft board. The guy's getting like 2 carries a game.
Exactly. Yeah, it might have to be
moved him up 15 spots because he had a good preseason game. We're not doing that next year. I've completely ignored preseason basketball, Tyler. I have no idea anything that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything either. Spread.
I'm not doing it. My first game. First of all, until April's like preseason for the NBA.
Yeah.
Steve said it could either go 37, defenses could score 37 or 12-9. We don't know.
Yeah.
Could be anything, but I hear you. Tim says, awesome show. Thank you for joining us, Tim. We really appreciate it. I mean, this is always fun. I think we broke it down pretty well. We always have fun chatting it through, get a little debates in too. Get a little extra draft, best ball talk. You get it all here. So, but again, check it all out for free on fanspeak.com, the betting card, the treasure map, the articles. If you are playing underdog, check out our free show that we did, or the show that we did this week as well. So I think that'll do it for this week. I hope everybody has a great week. So for Spread, for Tyler, I'm Meg. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next time.